So it's been about 2 years since Fortnite Chapter 5, aka the most controversial chapter in the game's lifespan, came to an end. Technically it's only been a year and a half, but shh, don't tell anybody, shh. And looking back at this chapter, it does make me wonder, was it actually good? Especially seeing all the nostalgia posts that I see quite a lot about, specifically Chapter 5 Season 1. Spoiler alert, no. No, it wasn't good. What's up, guys? It's your boy Jet here, and welcome back to some Fortnite. Today, we're going to be taking a look back at all of Chapter 5, except for Remix, because I just don't consider it part of Chapter 5 at all. And we're going to see whether it was actually bad or not. Like I said already, spoiler alert, it is bad, but I will explain why in due time. Disclaimer, if you like any season of Chapter 5 in any way, then go fuck. That is perfectly fine. At the end of the day, everybody has their own subjective opinions about each Fortnite season, and that's the fun of it. And two more things here. My inspiration for making this video was, first of all, Jazz Vader's video on Chapter 5. Go check him out, he's great. And secondly, my Supergirl emote not showing up in my locker when it's filtered on emotes. Why? Why is the locker still bugged, Epic, after over 2.5 years? Like, it's just absolutely ridiculous at this point. Now, if we're gonna be taking a look back at Chapter 5, we have to start back at the beginning. No, not the beginning of time. I didn't mean that. We have to start at Chapter 5 Season 1, although technically not Chapter 5 Season 1, we have to start at the OG season of that released during Chapter 4. Now, during November, we went back into Chapter 1 for the very first time to hit the OG button, and everybody was loving it, to be fair, including myself. Like, everybody was having a fun time, game was in a good state. The player count peaked during that season. I'm pretty sure the only thing that went past that player count was the Juice WRLD event in Remix. It was just a fun time. Like, that entire season was a fun time. I'm blowing this all out.
No, oh my god, Jet.
Report to Griffin.
That's really some great teamwork right there.
And everybody was wondering, oh, what's Chapter 5 going to be like? Is it going to be any good? How will it change up the game? And before Chapter 5 Season 1 came out, we had the Big Bang event. It was ass. I'm sorry, but that event is ass. I don't like it. It's basically just a glorified ad for the metaverse and the free new moves. I don't know, I just didn't really like that event all too much. But once that event ended, we were thrown into downtime for Chapter 5 Season 1. Anticipation was at an all-time high, and we got this shit.
Are you serious right now, bro?
What is this? We went for OG and you're just gonna change up the game completely like this? Like, what? My hot take about Chapter 5 Season 1, I think this is the worst season in the game's lifespan. I did not like it. I don't think it was very good.
Beat your goddamn ass, you son of a bitch.
And if you commenting right now about how I'm a dog person for not liking Chapter 5 Season 1 because you like it, that's fine. You're allowed to like the season. I just personally do not like it. And now you might be asking, but Jet, why do you hate Chapter 5 Season 1? Let me tell you why I hate this season. But of course, to tell you that, we're gonna have to go through everything new that was out of the season, the first of which being medallions. This was an absolutely atrocious system. I do not like medallions, and I hope they never come back. On the first season, I mean, they were pretty annoying still, because they basically just let you regenerate shield with one of them, and if you got all 5 of them, not only would it regenerate your health very quickly, but it would also take you all the way up to 100 shield, which is absolutely ridiculous. So if you got someone down to, like, I don't know, 1 HP, or you broke all of their shield off, all they had to do was, like, run away for a few seconds and they'd have all their shield back. It was ridiculous for the first few weeks. They did nerf it, but in my opinion, it still wasn't enough, and we'll come back to medallions later on, because, like, in my opinion, over the course of the chapter, it just got even worse. Map itself, I really didn't like the Chapter 5 Season 1 map, I'm gonna be honest. Like, I don't know what it is. Like, the POIs just weren't very appealing, except for maybe Freedom, Reckless Railways, Classy Courts, Hazy Hills, like, great locations. Everything else, there was actual, like, I just did not like these locations. And the graphics certainly didn't help the map, because we were just an OG, which, I mean, it's as OG you can get. Like, the graphics were very cartoony, colors were popping out and everything. And then we get thrown into Chapter 5, where all the colors are just muted, and everything just looks ugly. Like, it's just, like, Fortnite's just instead of trying to be cartoony, it's trying to be just, like, generic Warzone-looking Battle Royale, and I really just didn't like it. And we also got weapon mods with this season. I didn't like weapon mods, or at least how they were executed, because how they were executed, they were just very boring and generic and not Fortnite. wacky. Is that even a word? I don't even know if that's a word. Basically, they just took the most generic approach possible with weapon mods, like, ooh, you can put these scoops on. Ooh, the vertical foregrip reduces your recoil by 0.007%. Like, I just didn't like it. In my opinion, they could have pushed the idea of weapon mods even further, of like having cool, wacky effects, like, I don't know, kind of similar to like some of the exotics we have, like the stink rifle, which obviously shoots out the stink effect. Fire billets, we could have had like a fire billet mod. Like, I mean, this is just coming up with stuff at the top of my head here. I'll reading bullet points that I've already made. Because if I try reading the whole script, I'll just stumble through all my words. I don't know, in my opinion, weapon mods are a cool concept, but if they ever decide to bring them back, they should just try and think outside the box instead of like, you can get a magazine that increases your magazine size by about 2% or something. Like, we need better ideas than all the generic stuff that every other video game has done with weapon customization. And on to this next subject here, because of weapon mods, the actual weapons themselves, in my opinion, were just very clunky to use, especially if you either got a weapon mod that you didn't like, I don't know, a sniper scope on a Nemesis AR, and you couldn't take it off because the only places you could find the mod benches were in the vaults of the boss POIs, which, why? Why not just put them all over the map? Like, it is the main selling point of the season, and you're just gonna lock them behind the vaults. Like, in my opinion, all the mod benches should have been in named locations. There should have been one in every named location on the map instead of specifically behind vaults, because it just made them a pain in the ass to get to. And also, if you got a weapon that just didn't have any at all, it just felt really bad to use, especially paired with this next subject here, billet drop. Billet drop does not work in a game like Fortnite. Like, imagine if billet drop was in the game during Chapter 7 with or last season with like the foundation gloves, overdrive grenades, stuff like that, when the tracer pistols even, where everybody's moving like crazy fast, like, it would not work. Like, I'm pretty sure Ninja made this a point, but like, during Chapter 5, specifically during Season 4, which we'll get to later, there was 2 trajectories you had to worry about. Obviously, how far the billet would drop, which you can manage, and the second one being the War Machine jetpacks, where everybody, like, the movement's just unpredictable a bit. That's a trajectory you cannot control. In my opinion, just hit scan just fits the game so much better than billet drop, and I hope it doesn't come back. Oh boy, another touchy subject of this season that people hated back then was the movement animations, which they changed, and I will be honest, I think they're okay now, but at first I didn't like them. Not to the point where I would dox an Epic employee, which the community did do. Why? Like, actually just grew up. And also, for some reason, they made it slower as well, the movement speed. They did put it back to normal, but I don't know, in my opinion, the movement animations were completely fine and didn't need change. I mean, they're fine now, but I wouldn't exactly complain if they went back to how they were pre-Chapter 5. They also added wall climbing, which had, like, ledges on builds you could, like, climb on to, I guess, scale the building. I mean, it's fine, I guess. They also got a train this season as well. It was kind of underwhelming, to be honest. You couldn't even go inside the train, and it only had like a chest that would give you blue loot, I'm pretty sure, so very underwhelming feature. And finally, we can talk about the meta for this season. The meta for this season was absolutely atrocious. Like, the only 2 weapons you had to carry during this season was the Frenzy Auto, which was a very spammy shotgun, especially Oscar's one, and the Reaper Sniper, which was busted as like, even my nan could have used a sniper. That's how easy it was to use the Reaper Sniper. And then there was other annoying things like the cluster clingers, which I don't like them. They're annoying as shit.
Know your fucking place, trash.
And the ballistic shield, especially in zero build, like that shield had way too much health. And also another thing, the updates for this season weren't too great either. Like, Winterfest was underwhelming. We didn't even get the cabin. We had to wait a month for the Metal Gear Solid collab, which only brought in like a cardboard box and like some EMP stealth thingy-majig. And then we had to wait another few weeks for the TMNT mini pass event, which, to be fair, it was pretty good. We got like the Turtles weapons, cosmetics you could find the map, drift boards being back were cool, same with bringing back the pizza time. But overall, the season just wasn't that great. Not just in terms of meta, but also in terms of the updates, which were very underwhelming. So overall, in my opinion, this season just changed way too much about the game for the sake of change. I'm not saying Epic shouldn't change the game in some way. That's obviously the only way the game can evolve. But in my opinion, Chapter 5 Season 1 just took it to a whole other level and just changed way too much in a drastic way, and obviously not in a good way either from how I've been talking about the season. Now, the next season we're going to talk about is Chapter 5 Season 2. In my opinion, probably the best season of this chapter. I still think it's bad because I just don't like any of Chapter 5, but it's the best of the worst, I guess you could say. Now, in terms of the map changes for this season, they did add 2 new biomes to the map, which was the Olympian biome and the Underworld biome. Both pretty good changes, I have to say. I'm more pissed off about the Olympian biome, though, because they took away Hazy Hillslide, but I'll try not to touch too much on that, otherwise I'll be here all day. And also, for each of the seasons here, I am just gonna, like, briefly go through them, because if I talk about each one in, like, super duper detail, this video will be, like, multiple hours long, and I don't want to take too much up of your guys' time, so we're gonna try and, like, blast through all the seasons here. Now, this season was obviously themed around Greek mythology, which was pretty cool. But in my opinion, they just didn't do enough with the theme. Like, we got 2 new Greek items at the beginning, Zeus's Thunderbolt, which he had 3 uses off. It was pretty busted in builds, I would say, especially. In Zero Build, though, it was okay, but it made you a stationary target, which, especially in Zero Build, you don't want to be. And then we got the Wings of Icarus. I'm pretty sure they were called. I will say this, very fun mobility item, but in terms of, like, trying to get away from people, not very good, because the hitbox on them was massive. You know what else is massive?
Imagine if Nick A30 got french fries with waves.
Because of the hitbox of the wings being massive, though, it meant you were a very easy target if you were trying to get away from someone. And in my opinion, just made the wings kind of useless throughout the season. You were just better off taking shockwaves or another moving item, which we'll get to in a minute. And now the mod benches. They changed up the mod benches, and you might be wondering, Jet, how did they change the mod benches? Did they add them into every name POI? Well, spoiler alert, no they didn't. They doubled down on the idea of last season and made it even worse by placing them in weapon bunkers, which there are 6 of around the map. And for whatever reason, only 3 of them opened up per match. Like, why? And of course, some of them would be in the storm, which also why? So not only were there less mod benches on the map overall, but with obviously the bunkers being so scarce, you would have people camping in the bunkers, which just made fights around there really annoying. And in my opinion, was a very bad change to the mod benches. And just made it even more annoying to try and take off any weapon mods that you didn't like. Speaking of mods, they added 2 new ones, and these were the last 2 weapon mods that they added in the season, or not even just a season, in the chapter before they canned the whole weapon mod idea, which was speed grip, which slightly increased your ADS speed. Like, who actually gives a crap about that? Like, not even good. And we got a thermal scope, which I liked. I mean, it was cool, but like, overall, still pretty generic ideas for weapon mods. And medallions this season, they were even more annoying because they gave you actual abilities instead of just shield. Like, for example, Hades' medallion gave you Siphon, Zeus's gave you, like, increased jump speed, I'm pretty sure, or jump height. Ares slightly increased your damage by, like, 2%, so, like, the worst medallion. And then the best one here was Cerberus' medallion with another weapon. He drops the Gatekeeper shotgun. We'll get to that in a minute. And Cerberus' medallion would give you infinite dashes, which were in the Underworld biome in the Green River Styx, which you could just use like anywhere with that medallion, which was absolutely ridiculous. Like, that medallion was busted as shit compared to all the others. Once again, proving medallions are just a net negative for the game, and also it just forced you to land it from gate every single game. And of course, with the shotgun meta, Epic doubled down of it and gave us an even more powerful shotgun, the Gatekeeper, which that was absolutely busted throughout the chapter and basically made every other shotgun in the game useless. Like, you had to have a Gatekeeper, otherwise you were screwed. And now you might be wondering, well, Jet, did they continue with the Greek mythology season by adding in more Greek mythology items? Mostly no. They did add the Chains of Hades, which were pretty cool, but after that they didn't add any, and not only that, they also vaulted them all midway through the season. Why? And you know what replaced them? The Avatar mythics. Yes, the collab of Avatar, and for some reason, the whole theme of the season was just thrown out the window for Avatar. I'm not saying the Avatar collab was bad, it was probably the best collab of that chapter, but like, did you have to really throw away the Greek mythology theme for Avatar? Like, you could have had both. And of course, the Avatar collab added all the different bending from the show, like air bending, fire bending, earth bending, and water bending. Air and water were 100% the strongest, though. Earth and fire were alright, I guess, but like, they weren't too good. Air bending basically gave you infinite mobility until you decided you didn't want to use it anymore, so you could pretty much just use it forever. And with water bending, it was like a free round burst weapon, and it was the only hit scan weapon in that season, which obviously made it the best weapon in the loot pool, and it was really annoying to deal with, the water bending. I really didn't like it. And now the final thing to mention with this season, rarities got removed. Why? Why would you remove rarities? Like, that's such a dumb decision, because, like, it just made the locker, which was already bad. We'll get to that later, though. I actually forgot to mention it in Season 1. We'll save the locker for the end, though, but it made the, trying to navigate through your locker even more annoying, because, like, for me at least, like, there are certain skins I couldn't remember the name of, but I would remember what rarity they are, which made it easier to find them. But because they removed rarities, that rare skin that I couldn't remember the name of, I would struggle to find even more if I wanted to use it, which, even after 2 years, I still think it was a questionable decision getting rid of rarities, especially since they called it outdated. Like, there was nothing outdated about it. So overall, while Chapter 5 Season 2 had its problems, I'm looking at you, rarity removal, and Greek mythology theme getting thrown out the window in favor of Avatar. The season was definitely the best of the worst in Chapter 5, to say the least. Oh boy, now we're on to the most controversial season of this chapter, Wrecked. I will get it out of the way. I don't like this season, and if you like it, that's completely fine.
Mods chop off his ball.
And I did add a desert biome onto the bottom part of the map, which, in my opinion, once again, improved the map even more. Like, I will say this about the Chapter 5 map, even though I don't like it, I will say it got better throughout the chapter, especially in Season 4, which, we'll get to later. And if you want me to go through all the locations in the season, go check out the last video. Thank you guys again for supporting it, by the way. Appreciate it. Now, the main focus of this season was cars. Yeah, they completely revamped cars, and you could add, like, weapon mods onto them. So, like, pie catchers, turrets, tires, stuff like that. But the cars were just completely busted. Like, there was absolutely, at least in the first 2 weeks, there was absolutely no point in carrying actual weapons. All you had to do is find a car and you're pretty much set for the game, which in turn completely changed how the game played, which, while it's cool Epic experimented with this, I hope they never do again, because the cars were really annoying to deal with.
Yeah. Yeah, I will not be playing this season. I will not be.
Especially if this new mechanic they added for the season for the gas stations, where instead of having to manually get out of your car, pick up the hose thing, I don't know what it's called,
He was special.
and refuel the car manually. No, there's a giant pad you can just go onto, and not only would it refuel the car automatically for you, it would also heal the car. Like, that's absolutely ridiculous, and for some reason it is still in the game, even in Chapter 7. Like, it completely removes the risk of having to try and refuel your car if it's low on fuel. Like, in my opinion, just revert it back to how it was, where you had to manually get out to refuel your car, but also add in something there as well, where you could heal the car, but you have to do it manually yourself, because it just completely takes away any risk from that. And also, medallions this season, once again, even more ridiculous. You had the machinist one, which would just give you shield up to 75. I mean, it's fine, I guess. Still annoying, though, to deal with. You had Ringmaster Scars medallion, which gave you infinite ammo, and I'm also pretty sure slightly increased your damage, I believe. Which sounds alright on paper until you realize the boom bolt is in this season, which ran on rockets, and guess what? Rockets ran out easily, but it was very powerful. So having infinite rockets means you could pretty much just spam the weapon endlessly, which made it a bit annoying to fight against, but the boom bolt was a very good counter to cars, and if you got your hands in this, you were pretty much set for trying to counter the cars. And another annoying mechanic they added this season was the nitro splashes, and just nitro in general. This was annoying on the first day. Like, not only would it give you infinite stamina, but you could also just smash through builds easily. Like, why? Like, it basically just made building obsolete in the season, especially part of, like, cars and stuff, and you could give the cars nitro for some reason. Like, it just made it absolutely ridiculous to try and play against. Speaking of nitro, we have the nitro fists. I hate this item. Not only was the movement on them absolutely insane, but they're also really good as a weapon. Like, even if the person you were trying to hit was, like, outside of, like, where you're punching, it would, like, on the right of you, for example, while you're punching forward, you'd still somehow hit them anyway. Like, did Epic actually test anything in this season? Because, like, I don't know what they were smoking, but they clearly just didn't test any of this stuff. It's like there's absolutely no way to look at everything here. It's like, yep, it's balanced. And another annoying thing about this is they didn't even separate this elite pill from ranked as well. Like, if you wanted to play ranked mode, well, good luck, because you also have to deal with cars, people flying by nitro fists, and smashing through all your builds and stuff. Like, eventually they did split the elite pills after enough people complained about it, which, for ranked at least, I would say is justified. I mean, heck, even as a casual player myself, I didn't like any of this. But in my opinion, it was just too little too late. Like, this should have been, like, the elite pills should have been separated from the start, in my opinion. There's absolutely no excuse as to why they weren't. Oh yeah, and they removed the train this season, but who actually cares about the train?
I'm here to tell you right now,
We don't care.
Let me tell you something.
We don't care.
And of course, because of all the complaints about the cars, rightfully so, they nerfed them. Of course, there was a group of people that weren't happy about it, but honestly, I think the nerfs were absolutely needed. And they also unvaulted boogie bombs to counter them, which was amazing, especially since you could stack up to like 10 of them for some reason. I think that is a bit ridiculous being able to carry 10 boogies, but hey, it helps counter the cars, so can't complain. Although they did later replace them with EMPs, which I think was a much better choice, to be fair. And another thing that happened this season was Magneto getting added to the game, which as a skin, pretty cool, but they also added an ability for him, his gloves, which I don't know how it was in builds, because this is mainly coming from a zero build perspective, but in zero build, they were annoying as fuck to try and go up against, especially if someone nitro fisted into the air. Like, you couldn't even hit them while they were just throwing down metal, just giant chunks of metal down at you, which dealt like 90-something damage, or something stupid like that. It was good against the cars, of course, which is a good thing, but like, in my opinion, these things were just way too powerful. And we also got a Pirates of the Caribbean collab this season, which was pretty cool. And we got a new POI of it, Shipwreck Shallows. It was alright, I guess, just crappier version of Lazy Lagoon, but it was alright. And we got the Ship in the Bottle, which, yeah, I don't know what to think of it, I'm gonna be honest. And because obviously it's themed around pirates, we got the Flintlock pistol back, treasure maps, and pirate cannon, so it at least fit in with the theme of the collab, but overall, it was a pretty mediocre collab, and in my opinion, the worst mini-pass event we've gotten by far. And the final major thing that happened in the season was Reload getting released, which, great mood. I really like Reload. I don't like playing it as much as like OG or Chapter 7, but like, I like it. Reload's a fun mode to play every now and then, and especially during Chapter 5. Like, in my opinion, it was way better than anything Chapter 5 had to offer. It had like old POIs on there, like Tilted, Retail, stuff like that. And they also included old weapons from Fortnite's past, which a lot of people, including myself, preferred to how all the Chapter 5 weapons were. And in my opinion, should have hit the nail on the head in the Epic that hit scan is better for the game than bullet drop. And also the old weapons are just better in general. Overall, Chapter 5 Season 3, complete disaster of a season, but somehow not my least favorite. Let's just say the next one coming up here competes with Chapter 5 Season 1 for the worst season of all time, which we'll get to right now. Oh boy, the final season of Chapter 5, or penultimate if you count Chapter 2 Remix as a Chapter 5 season for some reason. We have Chapter 5 Season 4, the second Marvel season, and the last one we've gotten, and I'm gonna be honest, it doesn't even come close to Nexus War. Like, I did not like this season. Like I said earlier, it contends with Chapter 5 Season 1 for the worst season of all time. I don't know, I just kind of switch between the two depending on the day. But I didn't like this season, which we'll get to the reasons why I didn't right now. So they added this entire Forged Forest biome, I mean that's what it's called apparently according to the Fortnite wiki, to the top right of the map, which had POIs like Castle Doom, Doomstadt, stuff like that. In my opinion, it really helped improve that area of the map and just made it a lot more vibrant and colorful in a otherwise very dull looking map. And I also added the Raft as well, which replaced Pleasant Piazza. Much better location in my opinion than Pleasant Piazza. My first thing we'll get out of the way this season, medallions. They were actually more balanced this season. Like, I would say this is probably the most balanced they've ever been. Because you had Mysterio's medallion, which we're not even going to talk about. That thing was useless. Doom's medallion gave Siphon. Once again, same as Hades', not too bad. Then Emma Frost's medallion would reveal your enemy's location every like 50 seconds or so. So overall, pretty balanced medallions, especially compared to the ones from Chapter 5 Season 3, which were just absolutely ridiculous. And Dr. Doom decided to be nice and fix the train. Once again, who cares about the train?
We do not care.
And of course, they added some new Marvel abilities here. They didn't bring back any of the old ones because screw those, I guess. Some of which being like Captain America's shield, which was busted as hell during the first week of the season, which thankfully they nerfed. Like literally the entire meta is just people holding up Captain America's shield while using War Machine's hover jets. We'll get to you later. Then we had other items like Shuri's claws, which I really like Shuri's claws. They're very satisfying to use, especially once you hit like 100% them and you can use like the kinetic charge on them or whatever it's called. It was really cool. Then we had War Machine's entire pit added to the game, which I want to complain about right here because, oh my god, these things actually made the season just nearly unplayable. Actually, they pretty much did make it unplayable. You had the auto turret, which would basically just play the game for you, especially if you paired it with Captain America's shield. And the next thing here, the hover jets, the main mobility item this season. Oh my god. The hover jets were so annoying to try and go up against. Like, it was basically like trying to deal with like flies or mosquitoes in real life. Like, just annoying as shit to try and deal with, especially when paired with bullet drop just made it even more annoying to go up against. And the worst part is, even if he ran out of the jetpack, it would just recharge anyway. Why? In my opinion, this is probably the worst mobility item to ever hit Fortnite. Like, I just genuinely didn't like fighting against the hover jets. And then we had War Machine's Arsenal.
I beg your pardon?
Which, I mean, it was alright. Wasn't too annoying to deal with. I mean, the missiles were a little bit annoying, but definitely the least problematic thing from War Machine's kit. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention this. They also brought back Doom's Gauntlets as well, which is pretty cool. And the, like, mystical ball attack that was a separate item in Nexus War, they just combined it into the gauntlets, which I think was a good change. Although, once again, when part of the War Machine hover jets, they were annoying to deal with. Like, literally all the problems from the season comes from this one item. And they also brought back armored walls for the season, which, why were they not in Wrecked? Like, I feel like they would have been more useful in Wrecked, if I'm being honest. And then later on this season, we also got Iron Man's kit in the game, which included his combat kit and the flight kit. And also there was these giant armories as well that would randomly spawn during matches, which would be either Iron Man's or War Machine's, and whichever one you got would give their respective kit. Iron Man's flight kit, it was pretty balanced, I have to say. It was basically just like a reskin version of the wings from Season 2 of this chapter, but in my opinion, a lot cooler, because you could basically just fly like Iron Man. And they didn't have it as big of a hitbox, which is a good thing. You could still hit people easily with it, but like not as easily as you could of someone who was using the wings. But my biggest gripe with Iron Man's kit here is the combat kit, which first of all has aimbot, and secondly, shots from that aimbot would deal so much damage. And combining this once again with the War Machine hover jets just made it really annoying to deal with them. So not only would the person you're trying to fight just be annoying as hell to shoot at, especially if you didn't have jetpacks yourself or the Iron Man combat kit, but if they also had the Iron Man combat kit, they didn't even have to do anything. The weapon would just lock on to you for them. Like, it just made, like, this entire season, in my opinion, is just so annoying to play. And also later on this season, we got the Isle of Doom, which would have a small chance of appearing each game, and if you captured the Isle of Doom, by the way, I'm pretty sure it was like a 12% chance of spawning or something like that, I don't even know. But if you captured it, you would basically get to turn into Dr. Doom, and you had a bunch of abilities, like a laser beam, you had obviously his gauntlets and stuff, you had like a jump kick, like it was pretty cool. It just worked similar to like how Thanos did in Chapter 1, which I don't know why this wasn't an LTM. I mean, technically it was in the Day of Doom LTM, but I mean an LTM similar to the Thanos one from Chapter 1 Season 4. Overall, it was a pretty cool feature, but because of how little you got to see, you didn't really get, like, there's people out there who didn't even get to become Dr. Doom because of how rare this thing was. Like, I only got to become him one time. Like, that one time I got him in an actual game was the only time I got to play as him, which was pretty bad. And in my opinion, it should have been an LTM. And to round off the season, we had Fortnite Mirrors 2024. I definitely didn't call it 2025 or anything. And a lot of people, including myself, consider this to be the best Fortnite Mirrors. Well, it's between 2024 and 2025. Honestly, both of them are really good, though. And obviously, we got a bunch of stuff added of them, like chainsaw. We got a chainsaw. Really good mobility item. I really liked it. We had, like, Billy the Puppet exclusive things. I can't remember what they're called, but they were fun, I guess. We got 2 new locations with Fortnite Mirrors as well. Freaky Fields, great name, epic. And Brawler's Patch, pretty cool locations. I don't know, Fortnite Mirrors was just the highlight of the season, in my opinion, was just much better than anything else that was added in this season. Although, for some reason, at the start of Fortnite Mirrors, they vaulted Shuri's claws. I don't know what the point of vaulting them was, but they not only added them back later on in the season, but they also in turn got rid of the War Machine hover jets.
Yes! 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 Yes!
Thank God the season was actually playable after they vaulted him. Like, I'm gonna be so real here. This season nearly made me quit Fortnite. Like, I'm not even joking. That is, like, this season was so bad that it nearly made me quit the game entirely. Like, overall, just this entire season was just an absolute mess. Like, even more than Wrecked. Like, you thought Wrecked was bad. No. Chapter 5 Season 4 was way worse. But thankfully, Fortnite Mirrors 2024 did carry it. Like, it carried this season so hard that it broke its back. Oh yeah, I should probably talk about the events for this season, shouldn't I? Yeah, they finally brought back events this chapter, which is pretty cool. Most of them were like mini events, but we did get like a major one towards the end of the chapter with Remix the finale. We're not talking about it though because I'm not counting Remix as part of Chapter 5, so we'll mainly just talk about the mini events and stuff. First mini event we got was the giant Titan hand coming out of the ground of Pandora's box. Pretty cool mini event, and after that happened, the community had to come together to pickaxe the chains on the hand that were holding Pandora's box. box, which was pretty cool, and it opened up. Pretty cool stuff. And then we had the Sandstorm event in Season 2. I probably should have mentioned that last one was in Season 1. In Season 2, we had a mini event where the giant statue at Mount Olympus would, like, charge up every now and then to strike the box of lightning, and the final strike made the box bounce into the distance and created a giant sandstorm, which brought in everything in wreck. It's a pretty decent mini event. Then at the end of Season 3, we had the Refinery Explosion event, which was Megalodon trying to charge up his giant ship with Dr. Doom sabotaging it and blowing up the pipeline along with Redline Rig, which somehow came out unscathed. I have no idea how. It was a pretty big explosion. And of course, it revealed Pandora's box in underneath where Redline Rig was, which is pretty cool. Then we had the Absolute Doom event where we fought Dr. Doom, which, I mean, it was pretty cool, but like Dr. Doom only had like 2 movesets, I'm pretty sure, so it wasn't very engaging, but the idea of the event was pretty cool though. And then finally we had Remix the Prelude, which ended off Absolute Doom. Yes, for some reason the Absolute Doom event where you fought Doom wasn't the final event. Yeah, makes sense to me. Remix the Prelude, I have to say, the worst event in Fortnite history. Like, it was literally just a glorified ad for Snoop Dogg and Ice Spice, like, twerking about in Times Square for some reason. Like, I don't know, it was just a very underwhelming event. Oh, but Jan, it would have been much cooler though if you were actually in person in Times Square. Yes, you're correct, but guess what? I live on the other side of the planet, so obviously I'm not going to be able to go to Times Square. Overall, well, some of the mini events were pretty cool, and Remix the Prelude being very, very shit. I thought it was cool that Fortnite brought back events this chapter too, and obviously laid the groundwork for future events like Zero Hour and Shattered and stuff like that. Now we come to the answer of the ultimate question at the beginning of this video. Was Chapter 5 any good after looking back at all the seasons here? No. No, it wasn't. And obviously, back in the day, it was hated so much, and I personally believe everybody hated it, mainly because Epic just changed up the game way too much, and just ways that people didn't like it, with stuff like village drop being added, which once again, in my opinion, just doesn't fit into Fortnite. And thankfully, they did bring back hit scan in Chapter 6. They did try village drop again in Chapter 7 Season 1 by adding it to red dot ARs past 100 meters, which I think is the perfect way to do it. Because obviously you could still use the ARs at decent ranges, while obviously the red dot ARs can't just beam people from like hundreds and hundreds of meters away. Weapon mods, just very underwhelming. Obviously explain some ideas for how they could have done weapon mods, but overall they just took the most generic approach possible with them. Going from like the OG map in the OG season to Chapter 5, like it was just a complete night and day difference. Like the map itself wasn't very good, although it did get better over time. Chapter 5 map. The graphics were still very dull looking and just made the game look like any generic battle royale instead of Fortnite, which is obviously known for not only its colorfulness, but its cartooniness. Which in my opinion, once again, Chapter 6 fix of how colorful that map was. See, Chapter 5 is just the cause of a lot of problems. And plus the POIs themselves just weren't very good. Like the layout of them just wasn't good and just made it easy to get lost. Okay, maybe that part's just me too. Medallions, in my opinion as well, just don't work well for the game. Unfortunately, they carried over to Chapter 6, but in Chapter 6 Season 4, because of how absolutely diabolical those medallions were, Epic just decided to take them into the back alley and shoot them, and they never came back, so you love to see it. Yeah, my main issue of medallions is to kind of just force people to land at a specific POI if they want the best chance to win, which, yeah. Augments, in my opinion, were just a much better way of having the system than, like, boons, which they did introduce in Chapter 6. That's just a much better way of giving out abilities while also making them more balanced. And then, finally, the movement options in this chapter were just absolutely awful. Like, I did not like them, especially during the latter half of Chapter 5, with Nitro Fist and Hoverjet's already gone over why I do not like those things, especially the Hoverjet. But, yeah, just the mobility options is chapter were just an absolute mess. And then finally, we're finally getting to this. The UI changes they made in Chapter 5 were absolutely terrible. Like, I am sorry, but the locker UI change was so like, not only does it just look very ugly, but they also separated everybody's presets for some reason. So now you had instead of just having everything condensed into one preset, they were all like separate presets. You had presets for like your skins, your emotes, your wraps for some reason, instruments and stuff like that. And like, why? It just made trying to save and change and customize all your presets just an absolute nightmare to deal with. Thankfully, in Remix, they actually added back like loadouts, which combined all of your presets into one. But in my opinion, this is a change that should have never happened to begin with. You should have kept every single... You should have just added separate tabs for, like, the instruments and stuff, and made it so you could save them into one preset anyway, instead of trying to change everything into like multiple presets, and just made customization like annoying to try and do. So with all these changes that Epic made to Fortnite during this chapter, it's why I believe that Chapter 5 is not only the worst chapter in Fortnite history, it was a complete mess, and in my opinion, a failure in Epic's eyes. Oh boy, well that was a long video. Currently I am 54 minutes into recording. Hopefully the video isn't 54 minutes, because that'd be a pretty lengthy watch, but if you made it this far, thank you for watching, I greatly appreciate it. And thank you guys for the recent support as well on the last video as well, ranking every Season 3 map. At the time of this video, it's on 369 views, which is absolutely crazy, so I can't thank you guys enough for that, I greatly appreciate it. And we're definitely gonna continue making videos like these, where I just like talk about the game or rank things with the game, because I just love to talk about Fortnite. There's many things I do want to talk about of the game, which I'm sure we'll get to at some point. And let's just say expect a Season 3 review once we get closer to the end of the season, probably the last week, because I do have a lot I want to say about this season, especially the sprite system, but I want to save it for the season review, so be on the lookout for that. So if you guys enjoyed today's video, make sure to leave a like, only if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're new, and turn on notifications to never miss a video that I upload. I want to thank you guys for watching, have a good one, and I'll see y'all next time.